All right, let's see. Bezrat Hashem. Okay, now what was your question? Yeah, El, you sent me a question.
I sent you a question
If a
from
child is given a non-Jewish name, is there a process which should be undertaken in order to have a kosher name? Yeah. If it in fact, yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's answer that question first. If a child was not given a Jewish name, then this is what you do. Depends on how old the child is. If the child is past bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah, then you talk to them and you ask them about their name. And you ask them what name they like and what name they want. If the child is younger, then the parents choose a name, a Hebrew name. If they cannot choose the Hebrew name, that they should ask a rabbi or a rebbetzen to help them. And yes, then the father goes to shul. And if the father does not go to shul, then the rabbi or the rebbetzen, well, the rabbi could go to shul. And at the Shabbos Torah reading, he says the child's name with a mishaberach. And yes, that opens up the energy of the child's soul to that child and creates a new path and a new opening. It doesn't really not a new path, but it just gives the child the tools to be able to do their job. So if that is not enough, you can ask me and I'll send more info, but that's basically what you do. Anybody who wants to add, who doesn't have a Jewish name, there's a lot of research that needs to go in, because a lot of times people have a Jewish name and they just either they don't know it, they forgot about it, their parents forgot about it, but the grandparents might remember, or the uncle, or whoever it would be a significant for whomever the name would be significant. Ask around in the family. I have a fabulous story about that just to show you how. So I have one of my students from America now. I think I don't know, she's probably in her 40s. I started teaching, of course, when I was like 2 years old, so I could have students in my 40s. So, so her name was, she was Bukharian. She is Bukharian, very, very traditional Bukharian, religious. And her name was Lior. Lior. So, Lamed Yud Aleph Vav Resh, Lior, which is a very, oh, Karen's name is Sarah. Good, look at that. And which is an unusual name for Bukharians, because Bukharians who were traditional from Russia, right, but Bukhara, but very, very traditional in name giving and very biblical name giving. So whenever we were going through, and I always called her Lior, and it was a very unusual name for her. Why? She's a very, very traditional person, very old-fashioned, very family-oriented, and Lior is like this. It's like this newfangled Israeli made-up name. So the truth is, I had a hard time calling her Lior, but that was her name, so I called her. She had a Russian name. I don't know, Lena or one of those Russian names. But anyway, maybe she'll see this, because this year goes out to a lot of people, and I got so much feedback from Dafka from this year, any positive feedback. Anyway, I said to her like this. At one point, we were studying Hebrew names, and she said, she feels so disconnected to her name. I said, why don't you go home and ask, who you're named after? So she went home. Her parents did not know, but her grandfather, who lived with them, of course knew, because he said he was the one who named her. So she said to him, why did you give me such a new Israeli name? Why didn't you give me like a biblical name? My teacher says it's an Israeli name. It's not a biblical name. So her grandfather said, what kind of a teacher do you have? She doesn't know anything. Of course, Lior is a biblical name. So my student said to him, but where is it in Bible? Like, where is it in the Torah, Lior? It's not. So he said, what do you mean? Don't you know? Doesn't your teacher know anything? Sarah, Rivka, Rochel, and Lior. So the way that he pronounced Leah was Lior, and she always thought it was Lior with a resh. He was pronouncing it in the Sephardic, very old-fashioned way of Lior, which is Leah. How can her teacher? What kind of Torah teachers do you have? She doesn't know Rochel and Lior. So anyway, so a lot of times grandfathers know if you don't have a Hebrew name or a child doesn't have a lot of times you ask somebody in the family who it would be important to them to have a Hebrew name, they know. Ask them. And if not, then yeah, you choose the Hebrew name. If it's an adult and she chooses the Hebrew name, we do this all the time in all the different seminaries, the Baal Shuva yeshivas, when the girls do not have a Hebrew name, there's a whole procedure of what you do, etc. Anybody needs to know that information, you could ask me. I'll tell you it privately, not for this year. Okay. I also want to tell you that there's a very big machlokas, a very big discussion in halacha. We touched on this last week a little bit, but there's a very big discussion in halacha about should you indeed change your Hebrew name in case someone is ill, in case somebody is sick. The Gemara has stories pro and con. There could be those who say yes and those who say you shouldn't. And those who say you shouldn't, Reb Michal from Zlotyshev said, for sure you should not change the Hebrew name, because he said, even though you think that the person is sick and they need a new mazel, but really their strength could be in their given name. Could be that that's their strength. So don't change it. And yet we have there are many stories that talk about, yes, changing a Hebrew name. Each person's going to ask the rabbi that they hold by, that they're their rabbi, etc. Okay, just to let you know something interesting about the name Leah, just because I said a story about the name Leah, I'll tell you another story. Refuah Shlema for Yaakov Yosef ben Leah. Oh, here's another Leah. Look at that. And Yael Dov, she did it. Somebody changed her name. Good. So there's a very famous story that Rav Glazerson brings in his book about a girl, a Baal Tshuva here in Israel, a Baal Tshuva, who while she was in her process of tshuva, she said she had a dream. And in her dream, her grandfather came to her in her dream and said to her, she should change her name to Leah. Exactly that name that he was begging her, please change your name to Leah. And that was in her dream. So she got up and she didn't know what to do with it because she was a choser, but she was a mitchazeket. She was a girl, Israeli woman who was becoming stronger in her Yiddishkeit. And she didn't know the idea of dreams and people coming to you in dreams. She didn't know what to do with it. So she asked her Rav, and her Rav said, for sure, if your grandfather bothered himself to come to you in a dream, and it was a clear dream, and it happened early in the morning when you were just woke up from your dream, and you remembered your dream, then he's telling you, yes, you should change your name to Leah. Why? Because, and the Rav interpreted and said, it could be that because of your past life, because of your mistakes that you made before you were religious, you did a lot of things that were not proper. And it could be that you were not going to be destined to have children, and your grandfather sees that. And in Shemayim, he's so proud of you that you're becoming religious that he prayed for you that you should have a lot of children. And the name Leah is a name that gives a lot of children. So that's why you should change your name. V'kachaya, that's what happened. Changed your name to Leah, became from a lot of children. Okay. What I want to do today in the beginning of today's lesson, and we'll see how long it takes, and is to give you a tool. After class is over, so I want you to do some work, because the way it works with Torah is if you just listen, which is what you're doing, you don't always retain. You don't always remember. You don't always retain. Not just that, not only you don't always retain, but sometimes you forget. And sometimes you don't even chap any part of the lesson. It's funny how Hashem wants us to absorb Torah. Hashem wants us to be very proactive in learning Torah. In olden days, when women were not learning anything, they were just at home washing, cooking, cleaning, and creating a home, then they didn't need as much Torah learning. Nowadays, since we learn secular, we need to. This is what Rebbetzen Sarah Schneer taught us, is that since the modern woman is so well versed in secular studies, we know how to read, we can become presidents, we can become accountants and doctors. You should have at least that amount of Torah learning. that the same amount of secular learning that you have, if you have a master's degree in anything, you need to get a master's degree in Torah also. And this is what we're doing and you don't have to go to an institution. You can just come on our shiurim online and amass so much information that you'll have comparable to what you have in secular. So because of that, and because the way that the Zoom classes work is I'm presenting and you're receiving, which is a blessing for me. Thank you so much that you come. And the more people come, the more exciting it is. And when you put your faces on, it's even more exciting. And certainly when you put your names on. So, but I want to give you work to do also on your name. I don't want to just tell you what your name means. I want you to work. So I'm going to give you a few different skills today. And it'll keep you busy for the next 100 years. I think that'll be enough until you figure it out. Okay, so the first thing we talked about a little bit last week is the gematria, the numerical value of your name. Okay, everybody's going to have to go online because I did not prepare this for you. I'm very sorry. You're going to have to, first of all, know how to spell your Hebrew name. That somebody can help you with. If nobody helps you with it, I can help you with it. But you need to know how to spell your Hebrew name, just your name, however many Hebrew names you have, not necessarily your mother's name or your father's name, although that's also good, your name and your primary name, not your nickname, just your primary name, not Chani, but Chana, like that. Then you're going to have to find out the numerical value of your name. This is how numerology works. Gematria. Now, I will tell you that the secular world, because they found out that we have gematrias, they also do gematrias, and they call it numerology, and sadly to say, it's nonsense. Why is if it keeps them out of trouble, all right, it's like sports, keeps people out of trouble. 50,000 people go to watch a soccer game. Good, 50,000 people are off the streets, not killing anybody, not hurting anybody. It's innocent for non-Jews. Jews, we don't waste time like that unless you need to for good reasons. But oh, good, Marcel got on. Good. I don't know what happened. Everybody got on. I don't know what happened. But we've been having problems with the Zooms. Yesterday also we had a problem with one of the other classes. So why does the secular numerology not work? A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, C is equal to 3. Why? Because the secular alphabets have no significance, nor do they have meaning. A, B, C, you could write it as A, C, B. It's just whoever made up the alphabet, the Greeks, whatever they did, it has no power to it. It's just everyone decided. They decided that this is going to be the alphabet, or somebody made it up and they all agreed to it. So, but it has no significance whatsoever. As opposed to Hebrew, Lahavdil, infinite Havdalas, Hashem created the world with the Hebrew letters. And so, every letter in Hebrew, in Lashon Kodesh in Hebrew, is significant in the following manner. First of all, the order of the numbers. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, Dalet is 4, Hey is 5, Vav is 6, Zayin is 7, 8 is Chet, 10 is 9, Yud is 10. Then after Yud comes Chaf. Chaf jumps to 20. And then Lamed is to 30. That goes by the tens. Until Mem, Nun, is that right? It goes by the 30s until 90. Then Kuf is 100. Reish is 200. Shin is 300. Tav is 400. And then you do the 5 ending letters. Final Chaf is 500. Final Mem, 600. Final Nun, 700. Final Pei, 800. Final Tzadik, 900. And then Aleph is a 1,000. And that's how you do it. So now, you are going to figure out the gematria of your name. If you have 2 names, you add them together. So Chana Sarah does the gematria Chana and adds, and then the gematria Sarah adds them together. That's going to be the numerical value of your name. That's assignment number 1. Not now. You'll do that on your own. Assignment number 2 is, then you're going to find, let's say the gematria of your name is 726. Let's just say, just made a number up. Then you're going to add the digits. You're going to add 7 plus 2 plus 6. 7 and 2 is 9, 9 and 6 is 15. So the first mispar katan, the first lowering or conjunction, contraction of your gematria is going to be 7 plus 2 plus 6. 7, 2 is 9, 6, 15. Then you're going to do the 1 and the 5. I'll say this again. You'll add the 1 and the 5. 15 is 1 plus 5, the digits, and you get your lowest or the most concise, the most compact, the most intense number is 6. That means your number is 6. It's called mispar katan, the smallest number. I'll say it again. Don't worry. Don't get nervous. Okay. Let's say your name is Sarah. So Sarah is, the shin is 300, the resh is 200, that's 500, and the hey is 5. So 505. The name Sarah is 505. 505. That's the gematria. Now, if you want to stop there, bivakasha, you certainly can. And then you're going to try, you're going to write it down someplace into gematria. Your name is 505. Then you're going to look online, because there's a sefer called Gematrion. You could write it in Hebrew, you could write it in English, Gematrion. You're going to type in the number 505, and you're going to ask Rabbi Google, what words have the same gematria as 505? And Rabbi Google is going to print you out a whole bunch of words and phrases that have the same gematria as your name, gematria 505. And that's cool. Could you imagine if the gematria of 505 is, let's say, it happens to be hey chavsofis, hach. Okay, hach means to hit. So let's say you figure that out, or let's say you figure out another nice gematria of your name. So it's all different clues and different interesting insights into yourself. Some of them are outrageously silly. For example, I don't have the sefer with me. I thought I brought it with me to Eretz Yisrael. I guess I didn't. I guess I don't know where it is. Whatever it is, there's a sefer, and the sefer is all numbers. And every number has 2 or 3 pages of all the different phrases in Tanakh, or names of people in Tanakh, or names of people in the Gemara, the Talmud, with the numbers. So online, they have just like some of them have good, you can find different phrases, but they also have like silly kinds of, gematrias. But anyway, that's what you do with the outer gematria of your name. If you like to play with names. I was once at a wedding of one of my students, and the Rav, what was it? Was it Rav Yossi again? Years and years ago. This goes back, I don't know, 40 years, 30 years. And on the spot, he made up gematrias of the chassan's name, the kalah's name. He made like a whole of our Torah. If you add her name plus his name, you get the name MS. You get the word MS, which is true, truth. So he said it's a true zivug. That's how you do it. You play with it. I don't know what you're doing now, Sarah. Let me go see what you're doing. Probably doing us a big favor.
I said, I don't know. Dalia found us a table, and I said, I can't share. So I've asked Sarah.
Okay, first of all, Rafael Aryeh Ben Sipora for Shlema, and Sipora Bas Sophie for Shlema, and everybody else for Shlema.
All of Klalis.
And I can't do this either. So you're going to figure it out. What is that? The Aleph base table? Is that what it was?
Yes, it's an Aleph base table.
Okay, I can't open it mine, but okay, it doesn't matter. Everybody can find the Aleph base table and the numerical values of them. So that's
sorry, Rebbetzen, what was the name of that book that you said?
The Gematria book?
Yeah.
Gematrion. It's a sefer, it's a Hebrew sefer. So Gematria, Yud Vav Nun, Gematrion. But you could find it online, or you could find different gematria. You could just put in 248 in Hebrew words, something like that. Do all the Googles. All your grandchildren will be able to find it for you. Anyway, But this is not that I'm just making this up. Chazal do this. Chazal say, for example, Leah. Leah's gematria is 36, 36 hidden tzaddikim. Abraham's gematria 248, the limbs of the body and the mitzvahs asay. Moshe's gematria 345, same gematria as two of Hashem's names added together. David's gematria Yud Daled 14. Echad, is that Echad or let's see, what was David? Forgot. Yad. I forgot what it was. It's famous gematria. So finding the gematria of your name and then using it as a message to you, as an encouraging message. An encouraging message, because we need encouragement. This is such a dark time in Jewish history, right before the end. It's problematic in terms of people suffering, in terms of the lack of clarity and lack of feeling God, the lack of feeling worthy, the lack of feeling holy. So whatever you can do to make yourself feel better about yourself, do it. So if you can find a gematria that your Hebrew name is a phrase that is the same gematria as an encouraging phrase, write that on your refrigerator and write it to everybody in your family. Give them all like the put or the phrase that is parallel, that's equal to their name. Okay, so that's one job for you to do, because I certainly can't do for everybody's name. I mean, I could, but whatever, it'll take a while. The second thing I want you to do is the following. Then the easier job, after you find your gematria, is to find the first contraction of the gematria, which is again adding the digits of your name. Like for example, if the gematria of your name is Avraham 248, then you add the 2 and the 4, you get 6. 6 and 8, 14. And then you're going to try to find some kind of and it's always going to be under the number 20, because that's just how numbers work. And so you're going to try to find something about the number 14. 14 is, as I said before, David. That's the gematria of his name. So that's the first downsizing or contraction or making it more intense of your name. And then you're going to add the 1 and the 4, you're going to get the number 5. So I am going to tell you now everybody's name contracts into a mispar katan between 1 and 9. That I'll tell you right now what each of those numbers mean, because it's fewer to do than every name in the world. So let's say your name is, your mispar katan of your name comes to the number 1. Let's see, how could that be? That is, let's say if your name adds up to 10, what name ends up to 10? Let's say, no. Your mispar katan.
Sarah was
Here.
505.
Sarah, good, very good. Sarah is 505. 5 plus 5 is 10. You add the digits. You know what it means, the digits, just the numbers. Sarah, 505. 5 plus 0 is 5 plus 0 plus 5 is 10. Then you have the number 10. 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. Okay. So if your name comes down to 1, the mispar katan. Okay, 1 is Hashem, right? 1 is Hashem. So it means godly, spiritual, bonding with God, God awareness. Everything about 1, Echad, Hashem Echad. It's the consciousness, it's the ability to constantly have in your mind Hashem Echad. That's 1. And because Hashem Echad, Hashem is the controller. Wait, I'm going to do all the numbers. Because Hashem controls the world. Hashem is the power, the only. You add them all together. If you have 2 or 3 names, when you put a question up, address it to everybody so everybody can see the question, so that when they hear me answer it, they know what the question is. So if you have 2 or 3 names, you add all your names together. Chana, Rochel, Leah. You figure out Chana, plus figure out Rochel, plus figure out Leah. Add them all together. That is your gematria. Now, so if the mispar katan, the smaller number, the most concentrated number, that's your mispar katan, is the most concentrated of the numbers in your name. if it's one, like Sarah, then you have an ability. Yes, all Sarahs have this in the world, even Sarahs, even non-Jews who have the name Sarah. It would be interesting to know that you have the ability to focus on God, because God is one. And you have the ability to be strong, because everything that God is in the universe, we can play with those. We could play with those same midot. We can imitate them. So that's if your mispar katan is one. What if your mispar katan is two? Like the name Miriam. The name Miriam. Miriam just got on. The name Miriam. Miriam is 290, right? The resh is 200. Two mems. Each of those mems is 40. And the yud is 10. Now you might say, wait a minute, Miriam has a final mem. So any name that has a final mem or has a final letter, chaf, mem, nun, pei, or tzadik, you could do two gematrias and see which one you like better, or see which one is more relevant to you. But usually we don't do the mispar. Usually we do the regular number. So Miriam, even though it has a final mem, we're going to call it 40. So Miriam is 290 altogether. 290 is 2 plus 9 is 11, plus 0 is still 11. So you have 11, and then 11 is 1 plus 1 is 2. So what is the name? What is the name Michael? Michael is 101. 101 is also 2. So what does that mean? So 2 is the creation. 1 is Hashem and all godliness and all awareness of God. And 2 is the beginning of prosperity, the beginning of abundance, the beginning of the expansion of creation. That's 2. Interestingly, Miriam Hanaviah, she expanded families by being a midwife and by encouraging births. Michael, the angel Michael, is the angel of protection of the Jewish people. He's the one who always talks to Hashem in our favor. So that's the number 2. If your mispar katan is the number 2. If your mispar katan is the number 3, let me find the name with the number 3 mispar katan. Anybody do their mispar katan yet? And they have a number 3?
Yes, you heard it.
Good for you. Yehudis. How much does your name come out to?
It comes
Yehuda. Yehudis is how much?
to 435.
Yehudit. 4. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 6. No? No, you're right. 1 second. 4, 3, 5, right? 4, 3, 5. Good. Then 4 and 3 is 7. 7 and 5 is 12. And 1 and 2 is 3. Good for you, Yehuda. Thank you. You saved me some time here. So
is it
what
those
is
names?
what?
You add your 2 names together or just 1 name?
You add your 2 names together.
Okay, so I'm also 3 then.
What's your name?
Pa'ula Devora.
Oh, Pe'ula Devora. Okay, so what is your total combination of names?
408.
408? Yeah? Okay. Everybody has to check their math several times to make sure you got the right number. Just not that you got the wrong number. I'm just telling you.
Have I?
It's easy to add wrong, so check your numbers. Okay, 408, yes, Pe'ula Devora is 13. Is 12, is 3. 12 is 3, right? Okay, so what is 3? 3, now I'm taking this all from many different svarim, including Rabbi Glazer's in the Sefer. 3 represents the perfect balance, right? That's Tiferes, that's Yaakov Avinu, this week's Parsha. It represents balance. It represents making peace between 2 different sides, union of opposites, the unification of opposites, the making peace between opposites. That's 3. Okay, anybody have a number 4? Who's done their name with 4? No? Nobody? You're all being lazy? Oh, you don't know the numbers yet. Okay, let's see.
I'm
Um,
Dina Dvora. Mariam
say
Dina Dvora.
who?
I'm Dina Dvora. Mariam Dina Dvora. I'm doing Dina. Nun is 55. 4 and 10 is 14 and 50,
60
64, 69.
is
And
14.
Deborah is
It's
4.
15. 15 is 6. What number are we up to? We're up to 4. Okay. You could do Devorah also. Yeah, Dina
Hi,
is
Rebbetzen Rochel. I've got Masha Sarah and I'm 4. I think 505 and 345. I think I'm 4.
say it again. What's your Hebrew name?
Masha Sarah. I took Masha Sarah. I took both the Sarah and the Masha. It's Masha Sarah. 505, 345. And I've added it up and it should be 4.
Okay,
Maths
so
isn't my strong point, but I think that's right.
what is Masha? Masha is your Hebrew name?
Yeah.
Masha,
It
son.
was
How do you,
Masha, but it's Masha. I'm as Masha.
and how do you spell it?
I think Mem,
Aleph.
Aleph, Shin, and Mem.
Hey.
Shin. Thank you very much. Thank you. Shin and Hey. Oh, so that's, well, I've taken it as Masha, but maybe it's not.
Okay. You have to find out how you spell the name Masha,
Okay.
because Masha could be spelled with a hey at the end or an aleph at the end. So you're gonna
I'll
have
find
to
that out.
clarify that.
Thank you.
But any name that comes 4. Okay, so 4. There are 2 numbers, 4 and 5, that are similar. 4, Chazal tell us, is connected to the name David, because David's name begins with a Dalet and ends with a Dalet. And so Dalet is his primary letter. Dalet is the Gematria 4. So even though David's name, David, is 14, which ends up to be 5, that's why 4 and 5 are connected to each other. But the primary letter of David's name is Dalet. And so the number 4, and we'll see in a second the number 5, but the number 4 is connected to David. David is Malchus. Malchus means making Hashem the Melech over your 4 elements, over the 4 directions in your life, over everything. Making Hashem the Melech. That's called 4. So a person who's Mispar Katan goes to 4 has the special and unique quality of humbly, because Dalet is a humble letter, of humbly making Hashem the king, meaning at all conscious junctions in their life, whenever they're paying attention, they say, what does Hashem want me to do now? What can I do for you, Your Majesty? What do you want? What can I do for you, Hashem? What does Hashem want from me? Is now a time for me to daven Shachris? Okay, that's what Hashem wants. What does Hashem want from me now? That's called Mispar Katan 4. When a person has Mispar Katan 4, and they do the will of Hashem, they're always asking, what does Hashem want me to do now? And they keep asking and they keep doing. If that's how they do, then Hashem gives them control and dominion over all the 4s. 4 in life means the 4 elements, which is the basic personality, 4 directions, north, south, east, west, the 4 seasons. In other words, when your life, the more we ask, what does Hashem want me to do? And the more we do that, the more we're in control of the world. And that's an amazing, amazing power. That's why David HaMelech became the king, because he was always asking in a healthy way. He was always asking, what does Hashem want from me? Is that Golda from the north that I'm seeing? Whoa, that's a big treat for me. Yes. Wow. Good. Okay. That's 4. Now 5 is also Malchus. Why? Because 5 is the letter Hey, and Hey is the final letter in Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, that talks about Malchus. It's a different type of a Malchus, though. 5 is literally having a certain dignity to you, a certain royalness, a certain royalty. Not the ridiculous royalty. Sorry to insult all you Brits, but your royal family is not to be admired at all. They should give up all their wealth to all their poor people that they're making believe that they care for. The true royalty is never feeling above anyone else. So you know that David HaMelech, right? He's our royalty. And remember that for all you Michals out there in the audience. So remember what happened. David HaMelech, when they brought the Aron Kodesh into Yerushalayim, David HaMelech started dancing. And he threw off his shoes. He kicked off his shoes. And he was dancing like crazy. And he wasn't dancing in the special balcony of the palace, overlooking everyone and like looking down on everyone and waving and being arrogant. No, he went into the audience. He went with the regular people. He went to the circle like everybody else. And he danced and he danced and he danced. And his wife, Michal, she was the daughter of Shaul HaMelech. And she said to him when he came home, she looked down on him and she said, that was very undignified. My father would have never behaved like that. You're a king. You have to behave in a dignified manner. And David HaMelech said, I'm the king. That's going to be forever. Your father Nebuch lost the kingship. So don't tell me how to be a king. He didn't say it like that. That's probably how we would have said. But he said to her, what is a king? A king is a slave to the people and a slave to Hashem. And when I'm bringing in the Aron Kodesh and we're all dancing to honor God, I am exactly equal to any of the servants because I'm also just a servant. He had no ego. David HaMelech did not have an ego. And because he didn't have an ego, and because his whole will was just to serve Hashem, and because he didn't look down on any Jew, but he loved every Jew, that's why he's Mashiach. That's why we're waiting for him with bated breath. So hey, but you should know something. That's why he's the king. So it's a tricky thing. To be a king, you have to be humble. So royalty means acknowledging your godliness, acknowledging the incredible gift that we have to be Jewish, and being overjoyed with it. That's 5. So if your Mispar Katan is 5, you have Malchus. You have holy Malchus. Mispar Katan 4, you have practical Malchus. Practical Malchus is Hashem, what can I do? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? 5 is holy Malchus. It's a little elevated Malchus. It always is like being a king, being royal, behaving royal. Oh, there's Sarayitza. Good for you. I see now your full name. Good. Also, Chazal tell us that the number that in Hashem's name, there's 2 Heys, right? Yud Kei Vav Kei. The first Hey represents Bina. Bina is the feminine aspect. It's an idea of understanding something, getting the details of something. That's if your Mispar Katan is 5. Then you have Bina. You have intuitiveness. You have intuition. You have deep understanding, 5. And you also have Malchus, royalty and dignity. That's 5. Okay, it's getting late. 6. What happens if you have 6? If your Mispar Katan is 6, 5, 3, 8. 5 and 3 is 8. 8 and 8 is 16. 16 is 7. No. Yeah, 170 is 8. Yeah, and the one before that 5, I forgot what the number was, that's 7. You just add the digits together. But again, make sure you get the math right. Make sure you're doing it right. You don't want to, you don't want to, you don't want to, base your whole life on an error in calculation.
So how does it work? Sorry, I joined a bit late, so I didn't get how the formula works. I mean,
You have to add the number. You have to know what your Hebrew name is.
so if it's I worked out it's 538 Shirachaya.
Okay, then you add the shira, then you add 538, then you add the 5, you add the 3, and you add the 8 together.
So that's
And you get
16.
16, and then you add the 1 and the 6, and you get 7.
So is that the number?
So that's your mispar katan. That's your most concentrated gematria number. You have
Okay.
3 numbers now. I don't know. You have to ask the rabbi how to spell all your names. If you're married, you should look on your ketubah. Make sure that the ketubah is spelled correctly.
So what would a 7 symbolize?
Wait, I'm not up to it yet. Give me.
Oh.
We're not there. We're up to 6 now.
Oh, okay, fine. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So now 6 is the number. 6 is the letter vav. It's the number of connection. 6 is all about relationships. Relationships, connections to people, connections to things, seeing connections, making associations in your minds. This whole teaching is a 6, meaning trying to help you to make associations between your number, your name, different midot, different qualities. 6 is Yosef Atzadik, which means you have to be pure. You have to be holy. But it's about relationships. Okay, now 7, 8, and 9 is coming from the Maharal. The Maharal tells us about the number 7, the number 8, and the number 9. The number 7 is success in this world. The number 8 is miraculous, miracles. And the number 9 is a super miracle. Going back, the number 8 is talking about when Mashiach comes. It means a person who's very Mashiach oriented, thinking about Mashiach. Number 9 is Olam Haba, even past Mashiach's time, in the time when the world will be totally fixed, when we will be in a different realm altogether. 9 is the highest, because it's the highest number you can have. You can't have 10, because if your mispar katan is 10, you have to add the 1 and the 0, and you get 1 again. So the highest number you can get is 9. Therefore, 9 is, in this teaching, according to the Maharal, 9 is the most spiritual, 9 and 1, because 1 is Hashem and 9. And that's why now you're going to make another association. You have now, if you have a 9 again, most spiritual, Olam Haba, highest miracles, that's 9. And 9 has a pair of 9 plus 1. Why? Because everybody wants to get to the number 10. So number 10 is right, we have 10 fingers, 10 toes. 10 is the number of completion, other than 1. 1 is Hashem. We can never be like Hashem. We're trying to keep the 10 commandments, the 10 levels of the Sphirot. So every number that you have now has a pair. So 1 and 9 go together clearly because 9 is the most spiritual and 1 is Hashem. 2 and 8 go together. 3 and 7 go together like that. And 5, the number 5 is going only with itself. That's why 5 is a very independent. If your mispar katan is 5, you're a very independent person. You're not a team player necessarily because you only need yourself. If your mispar katan is 5, you only need 5 to make 10. So you don't need something else. You have everything inside of you. Got it?
Sorry, could you repeat 6 and 7? Because you went quite quickly.
Yeah. 6 is relationships. You're very adept at relationships. You're very interested in relationships. You make relationships. You make comparisons. You make observations. You make connections. That's 6. And also it contains sexual purity because that's the Yosef Atzadik. That's a very famous number. 6 is is the idea of being tsanua, being modest, being pure, having elevated relationships, but it's all about the idea of relationships. Giving, receiving, because every relationship has a giving and a receiving. That's 6. 7 is this world, right? 7 days of the week, 7 0. 7 is this world. It means success in this world. 8 is Mashiach's time, miraculous, above this world. And 9 is super spiritual and Olam Haba. Now you're really, really lucky, ladies, because Anya is going to make a, she's right away, we're going to put her on, we're going to give her just job to do right away, because you all want to hear this, you all want to hear this again and take notes again, go through it again. I like how you did that, Nomi. I thought it was a note that you wrote to me, but now I see that you have it on your name. Next time you can all do your gematries on your name. Right, your name and your number.
So sorry, can I ask you? You said 5 and 5 was independent. What's
Very
4 and
independent.
6
Why?
together?
Why is 5 and 5? Why is 5 independent? Because 5 doesn't need anything else to complete itself to make 10. It just needs itself. It doesn't need a different number. 1 needs 9, 2 needs 8. Different numbers. They need to complement each other, blend. 5 just needs to be itself. It just needs to be a strong 5. 5 plus 5 gives you 10. So
Rebbetzen,
that's what,
is that something that we should like in making matches for people?
that's a funny question. Wait,
like
before you,
the number.
wait,
Okay.
Before you
Okay.
stay unmuted, no, me sorry, stay unmuted. I just want to say, if you have a hey in your name, or if you have a nun in your name, hey and nun are both 5 and 50, and then 500 is the final chaf. Those are the letters of independence.
So I start with Nun, Nomi, and I end Sarah with Hey.
Okay, so are you an independent person?
Very, but I'm
Okay.
also a person who needs people, but I sort of like to do everything myself, and I.
So listen, this is not like a halacha. It's not like on Shabbos you're not allowed to, go in a car. It's not like a halacha. It's a general thought pattern that you could use to, again, only to encourage yourself and never to discourage, only to encourage and to encourage other people. That's what this is
Fine.
for. To try to find positivity in yourself. So there are certain people who are not team players. There are certain people who are they can only work in a group. Like we have to cook together. I remember I was once by a house of Persian. There was a simcha, one of my students, Persians, and all these ladies were in the kitchen, like 10 ladies. One was chopping, one was cooking, one was cleaning, I was going dizzy. Like I can't have anybody in the kitchen with me. It gets me nervous, gets me not like distracted. When my students say, can we come cook with you? I always know what that means. It means you just want to hang out and talk, and I'm not going to be able to cook, and I'm going to end up doing everything again and whatever. Because for me, in my kitchen, when I was growing up, in my kitchen, that's how my mother works, and that's how my father works. Like and we also had a very tiny kitchen, so there was only one person that fit into the kitchen.
Right.
So
you need to have a real strong relationship, a good balance to work in the kitchen together.
Yeah, you do. I can work
with
with my granddaughter. I love working with my kids in the kitchen. With my own grandchildren, I love it. But you're right, you have to. Okay.
I ran a senior citizen center, and we had a big kosher kitchen, and the cook was like a big Russian balabusta, but she couldn't get along with the Hispanic staff that we had. It was like crazy in the kitchen. It's always like, and it was like a dance, and I had to work so hard as a social worker to make them all kind of be like a symphony. It was beautiful in the end.
Wow, amazing. Let me say the ending letters again. Thank you, Nancy. Nomi, sorry for sharing that. It is like a symphony to get everybody to work together. And some people do it naturally and some people don't. The final letters, Chaf Sofit is 500, Mem Sofit is 600, Nun Sofit is 700. It goes in the order of how they appear in the alphabet. Pei Sofit is 800, and Sadik Sofit is 900. And then Aleph again goes back to Elif, goes back to 1,000. So for example, what's the name of our year right now? Our year now is Tufshin Pei Bays? No. Our year is really Hey slash Tufshin Pei Bays. Hey is 5,000 because it begins at the beginning of a gematria with a slash that denotes the 1,000 sections. And then Tufshin Pei Bays really means 782. So really, it's 5,782. We usually leave out the hay. Why? Because we've been in the 5,000s for 782 years. We know that we're in the 6th millennium. But really, to write the date properly, you have a hay in the beginning with a slash with an apostrophe to designate 5,000. If you want to designate 16,000, you do Tet Zion with an apostrophe and then a number. Whatever. There's all numbers can be written in letters. Okay, there you go, my sweet friends. You have homework to do. You're going to figure out whatever gematrias you want to figure out. You're going to double check it. What about couples? You're going to double check it, and you're going to then work with your name first. If you want to work with your husband's name and give him a birthday present, bivakasha, that's really nice. Make sure you have the gematria correct, and then go to work and try to find an equivalent phrase. Let's say your husband's gematria comes at the same gematria as Ish Tov Tzaddik. Let's just say a good tzaddik man. Then you're going to, no, don't, oh yeah, 1 second. No, I'll answer you in a second. Then you're going to write him a nice little card, and you're going to have it, you're going to put it away for when he really deserves it. And you're going to say, dear so-and-so, your gematria is Ish Tov Tzaddik. And I think that that's exactly what you are, and I'm so proud of you. Love, and you write your name. And you put it away in your, whatever, your purse, and you have it ready for him to take out when you want to give it to him. Now, should you make couples? Now, let me start asking. No, the answer is like this. My Rav said, Rav Yitzchak Ginsburg, I asked him this question about all of this teachings about names and about, he said a couple should, well, I'll tell you about names in a second. He said a couple should just date regularly. Don't think, oh, your name is Abraham, your name is Sarah, perfect couple. Or your gematria is this, your gematria is that, perfect. Your small gematria is 2, his small gematria is 8. Together you make 10. You don't do it like that. What you do is a couple dates regularly, and then after they're committing to each other, engaged, or right before they're engaged, then you can do all kinds of things with their names and try to help them with seeing how the dynamic of the relationships will be, etc. That's how you do it. Couples, that's where it begins with. Now, in terms of names, wait, I want to tell you. In terms of names, Diane Fisher, Zichrono Livracha, was a big expert here in Yerushalayim HaKodesh. I took many girls to him. He's from the Badatz Eda Charedis, the super duper Badatz Eda Charedis, but he was such an approachable person. So approachable. And I think I told you this. And so I would take girls who had name issues to him. And he was considered the world expert on names. And yes, people would go to him. The people who would make shidduchim, just like that the parents do all the checking. And then the couple meets for like one date and they see if they like each other, like if they like how they look. But the parents basically know everything. The parents of the girl basically know everything about the boy. And the parents of the boy basically know everything about the girl. That's how Yerushalmi shidduchim are made in certain families. So those families, when they would hear a name, they would go straight to Rav Diane Fisher, and they would ask him about the names before they would even ask, and he would give the okay. Once he gave the okay for the names, then they would make inquiries, etc. So, but nowadays we don't have him, and his brother, he should be well, who lives across the street and down the block, is not well and doesn't do this. I think that one of his sons does this. I'll look for you, Pula Devar, in a second. I think one of his sons does this. Did take over his name thing. I'm not sure if he's as like, I'm not sure if Yerushalmi do that anymore. Go to him. I'm not sure. Let me look up a website for you. 1 second. 1 second. It might be in Hebrew though, so you're gonna have to learn Hebrew. Sec. Ay,
Rebbetzen,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, last week I told you my husband's name is
Oh, yeah, I
Rachamim.
looked up for you. I have it right here. It's very easy. It's the second to the last parak in Tehillim.
So his
and-
gematria is 258.
I'm not telling you the gematria. I'm just telling you the pasuk. Ramos kel bigronam, the cheref pithios piadam. It's a beautiful pasuk. It's in
Ramot,
Romamot. Go into the parak. Go into Tehillim by yourself. Second kuf mem test. Second to the last parak. I think it's pasuk vav. Starts. You'll see it. You'll find it. Romamos. It starts with Romamos.
oh, thank you so much,
You're
Rebbetzen.
very welcome. 1 second. Let me just find the gematria place for you. 1 second. One sec.
Ender Nun, Ramona was 700 and Ender Chof was 500.
Uh, okay, I have to look for it for you because I can't find it on my phone either. Well, maybe this is it. 1 second. Yeah, here it is. 1 sec. Okay, there's one that's tall. 1 second. Let me just make sure this is kosher. 1 sec. Okay. Oh, very nice. Okay, so there's one that says it's called Torah Calc. TORAHCALC. It's really nice.
Torah calculations.
Yeah. It's a new one. That's interesting. It's a new one. Go to that and you can do that. Let me find if I let me see if I can find you some more.
Wait, it's TORAHKELT?
No, TORAHCALC, like calculator.
Ah,
Write it down.
CALC.
Yeah. Can
Thank
you write
you.
it on the chat, on the note?
Yes, yes, I will.
Okay, 1 second.
Right.
see if I-
TORAHCLAC.
No,
Okay.
CALC. Oh, here it is.
CALC.
Yeah.
And the other one is called, here's the one that I was looking for. It's called in English, here, I'll write it for you. Where do I write it? Where is the thing?
In the
I don't wanna-
chat. Chat.
Chat. Okay, chat.
You can
Chat.
dictate it. I'll write it if you say it slowly.
Yeah, let me just
G?
do it. No, it's
Okay.
called geometrics. GEMATRIX. Now, how do I do this? There you go. That's a good one.
Gematrix. Okay.
And that one, let's see, let's see. Just make sure that you do it in a holy way, because some of these places, some of these things have non-Jewish things in it. Don't do the English at all. The English is ridiculous. 1 second. Maybe I'm going to ignore that. 1 second. 1 second. See, but they don't have it in Hebrew. 1 second. Don't do that, Geometrix. Don't do that because you have to figure out how to do it only in Hebrew and it's not good. Ignore that. I'm erasing it.
Yeah, I
There.
tried Gematrix and it only took not English, but the other one has a calculator that shows you a list of words. So the original one that you said, Torah Calc, has a feature called, was it called Gematria Lookup?
Right,
And you put in your number. and- yeah.
right. Okay,
Rebbe-
we'll keep looking.
What was the numerical value for the final vav?
There's no final vav. Final nun,
Eliyahu?
you mean final nun?
No, Eliyahu. Doesn't that end with a?
A vav is
Yeah,
six.
a vav is regular 6.
Okay, there's no final vav. Got it.
No,
Okay,
no.
got it.
There's only
Okay.
5 final letters.
Okay, I gotta run.